Hey, I've taken up a lot of your time here in week 2 with only the first 2 bonus videos. So you get a reprieve. You've spent a lot of time. So this third and last bonus video for week 2 will be relatively short. And what I really want to do is I call it a nod to Adobe Bridge. Many of you have traveled from my Adobe Bridge course into this Adobe Camera Raw course, and you're on your way over to my Adobe Photoshop course called the Real Photoshop course. I understand that, but I don't want to assume that all of you have a working knowledge, a good knowledge of Bridge. Some of you haven't taken that course first, and if you haven't, boy, I really would appreciate it if you would, and I think you'd appreciate it too. Talk to your colleagues up here, ask questions. It's a very valuable piece of information. So what I like to do is sneak out and just do a quick synopsis, really fast, of some of the high points of Bridge, okay? I don't have to import images into Lightroom, you know that. I'm just gonna take a folder full of camera images, JPEGs, RAW files, whatever, and I'm just gonna drag and drop that folder to Bridge, and Bridge will launch and I'm done. There is no import for Bridge. Big point. Bridge is what I use. Oh, look, I'm in. I just turned away for a moment, so sorry. Bridge is what I use to rate my photos. When I look at my images without double clicking and launching them in Photoshop one by one, I'm just going to hit the space bar. And the space bar shows me a nice large full screen preview of that image. I'm not yet developing like the develop settings of Photoshop. I'm not in Camera Raw. I'm just perusing my images. Space bar, go back down. I'm hitting the down. I'm going to go look at another image, another image, another image. Now, whatever image I look at, I can space bar and see a larger version. Space bar to reduce it. So it's full screen and not full screen with the same shortcut. Okay? Just the space bar. Now, you don't have to do that. You could click one and hit the space bar and then hit the down arrow and go from image to image to image. Now, while I'm doing that, ooh, I like that. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to hit numbers 1 through 5 and rate the images. I like this one, so I'm going to just hit the number 5 on my keyboard. And you'll notice that it added 5 stars. In the bottom left, you can see that. If over time I decide, wow, this one is a keeper, there's a keyboard shortcut for a keeper. In addition to just rating them 1 through 5, which maybe I have 2 or 3 5 stars in a photo shoot if I'm lucky, but after several photo shoots, I might have one of those 5 that's really, I think, useful, and I should put it in my portfolio. I have Bridge set up so that the number 6, in addition to my 5 stars, also labels it. Now it's registered in red. You see a little red bar across it, is in my portfolio. Spacebar. I can do that while I'm out looking at all the little thumbnails. Look, it's 5 stars. It's in my portfolio. Later on, I tap a collection called Portfolio. Hands-free. Okay, listen to me. Bridge is a rater, a labeler, and an automatic sorter. Many of you are disorganized. You have no idea how to find your photos. Where do I even find them? Bridge is an amazing program for organizing and finding. Here I've just been gabbing and I hit a button called Portfolio, and it just went out and found, out of my 55,000 photos on my hard drive, any I've ever labeled as portfolio. I didn't drag these here. Bridge found them. because while I was looking at some point in that file's life, I told it it was a portfolio label. It's automatic. How do you find your images? How do you sort your images? Are your images disorganized? Bridge. Now, I showed you the rating. There's label. And in addition to those, there's something called keywords. Keywords is a separate panel. And I can apply keywords to images. I'm not going to tell you how to do all of that in Camera Raw. This isn't Camera Raw specific. It's the mommy of Camera Raw. It's Adobe Bridge, and she bridges a gap between all the photographic apps, and including Adobe Camera Raw, so that I can sort, find, label, keyword. Now, I'll give you another example. I'm going to search in my master photo folder. So many images in my master photos folder. And I can click on collections and say, I want you to show me anything that utilizes the Fibonacci cropping technique, the spiral. Well, I didn't have a label called Fibonacci. I would need too many labels. So what I did was I applied a keyword. I've got a keyword in here called Fibonacci. If I could spell it right, we would find it together. Fibonacci. There it is, the divine ratio / Fibonacci. And if I click an image, and I put a check in that box, it will automatically be hunted and gathered for me when I do the Fibonacci search. And so now what I'm doing, spacebar, is I can quickly, with a customer over my shoulder, show any images that utilize that technique. I like them. All right, same thing. Rule of thirds, diagonals, images that utilize balance. All of these things are keyworded. How about this? Images that I took with my D300. It can sort by camera model. Or my D810 by camera model. Images where I utilize something called the gray card, which is coming up. All those things I don't know if you're noticing, but Bridge is finding all these images for me. I just want you to be aware that Bridge is so mandatory if you're a photographer. You don't know it yet. I'm just giving a nod to Adobe Bridge. Adobe Camera Raw is the greatest little plugin you never knew you needed. Bridge is the greatest application you haven't used. For those of you that have been using it, congratulations, you're here. For those of you who haven't, you want to learn it. It's just a little nod. You're finished for the week. Look for lesson 3, releasing on Friday. We're going to talk in depth about all things color.